A new Pew Research Center study finds that adults in the U.S. with a college degree are less religious than others. But this pattern does not hold up among Christians. The data show that of Christians with college degrees, 52% attend services weekly, 74% believe in God, and 67% pray daily. Our next guest can break down the study for us. Greg Smith is the Associate Director of Research at Pew Research Center, where he coordinates the center's domestic polling on religion. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to have you here. It seems to me like those numbers that we just saw were pretty high. And I'm wondering why those with college degrees are less religious. It seems like the numbers were up there.
That certainly does seem to be the case among Christians. You know, the idea that higher levels of education are associated with lower levels of religious observance has been a commonplace in the public discussion for decades. But what the study shows is that at least among Christians, among the 7 in 10 Americans who identify themselves as Christians, that's not the case. In fact, college-educated Christians are just as religious, if not more religious, than some of their counterparts with lower levels of education. It seems to be, in some ways, at least when it comes to attendance at religious services, in fact, college-educated Christians do that more often than Christians with...
Let's take a look at the Christian religions that you compared of those college-educated who attend weekly services. 68% of evangelical Protestants attend, 45% of Catholics, and 85% of Mormons. What do you gather from that? What do you learn from that?
Well, part of what you're seeing reflected in those data are some of the overall patterns that we see when we look at American religion. Mormons and evangelical Christians tend to be more religiously observant than many other faiths, including Catholics, including mainline Protestants, including members of other faiths. But within all 3 of those religious traditions, one of the things they have in common is that college graduates actually attend religious services more often than those with less education.
And why is that?
Well, it's hard to say why it is, but one of the things we know about college graduates in general is that they tend to participate in all kinds of things at higher rates than people with less education. They're more involved in their communities on average. They're more involved with things like PTAs, and these data show that they're more likely to attend religious services.
I was shocked in reading this report that only a quarter of Jewish college graduates say religion is very important to them. Why is that, do you think?
Well, again, I think what you're seeing there is that that these patterns whereby higher levels of education are linked with higher levels of observance, it's really specific to Christians. We know in the Jewish community in the United States and around the world, there is a tradition of secular Judaism. There are many Jews in the United States and elsewhere who are Jewish by means of culture, ancestry, and ethnicity, even if they're not particularly religiously observant.
Fascinating study. Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys do this. It's really helpful in covering religion.
That's very kind of you. Thank you for having me.
Greg Smith, the Associate Director of Research at Pew Research Center.